Devin Haney is the best fighter in the world, and ain't no dad gonna do what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna go about it. That's nothing. That's nothing. That's nothing. Yeah, that's nothing. That's just like I said.
So as you can see here, Bill Haney is promoting his son, Devin Haney, and Hopkins pulls, it says according to this post here on Twitter, X, Bernard Hopkins, that was such a sucker move. Well, he goes on to say this about bullying real quick.
All the dads around the world, just don't go, you're not going to be bullied by Bernard Hopkins or nobody.
So he says he's the best, he got the best fighter in the world, Hopkins. Yeah, Hopkins is being a little bit outspoken, unprofessional outside of the ring. I'm a B-Hop fan, by the way, definitely a great fighter. But this is just, you think it's shtick, but it looks definitely real. I don't know what's going on really. Then I went to follow up at another video, which I'm not going to show here. And basically, Devin Haney's dad's ringside, and he's like, basically like, yo, Hopkins walks up on him and steps to him. He's like, yo, I want to talk to you in the bathroom. And could it be like shtick, joking, maybe? I don't know, but it definitely looks real. I don't know what Hopkins is doing. It's crazy unprofessional because, Hopkins is a promoter. Oscar De La Hoya is a promoter. Oscar De La Hoya was selling his whole promotional career on being unlike Don King, Bob Arum, alleged scammers in boxing, stuff like this, and being good for boxing. But, yeah, this is just, it looks like, who knows, maybe there's some jealousy there. I don't know, what's happening. What would the jealousy be? I don't know. Maybe because they want to sign Haney and it didn't work out. And we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. Maybe Golden Boy wanted to put him on. I don't think he's with him, right? He's not with the Golden Boy. And he wanted to get Haney, and they just weren't having it, and talks fell apart behind the scenes. Who knows? But just people are talking about that drama. It is a drama. Bernard Hopkins, someone wrote lately, he's been acting crazy. So who knows what's going on with that. I thought that was worth a mention. And I also want to talk about these fights that went down real quick. This fight was crazy. This is, I'll get into more about Haney. Stick around. I'm gonna tell you why he's probably like the next big thing. And I was saying this before the Regis fight. He's probably like the next Floyd. I would put my money on him as being the next, undefeated, masterclass, genius ring IQ fighter. We'll see. But I'll talk about more why I think that. But this fight with O'Shara Davies going in against this Ishmael Barroso, who was 40 years old. It was really good fight. As on paper, it looked like it was really good because it was an upset. On paper, it looked like Davis was gonna, walk through him. He's coming off a big body shot knockout. He had the hype behind him, and it looked like he was gonna go in there and win the fight. And it didn't quite work out for his opponent, Ishmael Barroso. He has the huge power, but he was 40 years old. You could see he looked like a much older fighter. So Davies is expected to roll over him, is expected to beat him, expected to do what the fighters do on any given night when you have a 40-year-old versus a young, strong opponent with some type of trinket, with some type of belt. I can't even keep up with the belts anymore. There should only be one per division. That's a whole nother boxing fan argument, debate. It was crazy because Barroso won round. But the problem in this fight, was I think that Davies he underestimated the power of Barroso at 40 years old, which could happen with Deontay Wilder. I want to put that into the mix of why I think Deontay Wilder. I gave my reasons in previous video. Why Wilder? Because I like Wilder. Yeah, I'm biased. I get caught up emotionally because I'm a fan, but I try to be not emotional. So when I'm not a fan anymore and I seen what I saw with Deontay Wilder's last fight with Parker, he should retire, even though he can come back. Because what my point is, Barroso, the power never leaves. Deontay Wilder can still have an exciting comeback, and I want to see that. I wanted to see that versus Parker. I wanted to see that knockout, but it looked like to me the problem is getting the power to the opponent. He looked like age kicked in and he just couldn't deliver. His timing was definitely off. He admitted it, and that's just not going to hold up even against a Fury. If Fury lost to Usyk, it's just, unless Fury looks like a disaster, even worse than he did against his UFC fighter in the last fight he had. I don't know. It's just crazy the way the boxing, heavyweights and the way these divisions go. There's a small limited window in boxing where you can be at your best. And unfortunately for Davies, he underestimated Barroso's power. He should have took his time, and he probably could have maybe pulled that fight out. But I'm not going to say lucky punch. Barroso went in there and landed that punch. He worked for it, and he deserves a legit title shot now. It was a welterweight. It was a welterweight fight, and it went down at 140. But anyway, let's talk about the other fight I just checked out. I just watched Virgil Ortiz Jr. He was on a long delay in boxing. Came back against Frederick Lawson. There was no upset here. Everything went as planned, but Tony Weeks, that's the problem. A problem with the fight. You watched it. If you didn't watch it, oh my goodness. Tony Weeks has been involved in some controversial decisions before. When I say decision, he's the referee in stoppages, early stoppages, and I think even some scorecards in the past, but I can't remember exactly what because I'm going off the head here. But I'm not going to show the fight because the zone will probably just block it in all countries. So I don't want to deal with the copyright stuff there, even though this is a fair use work. Well, it would be if I was showing the video clips and talking about it. But anyway, Lawson didn't look good at all. He got hurt, but the fight was prematurely stopped. Do I have a huge problem with it? Even though it's an obvious early stoppage, the crowd was cursing at Tony. And don't go anywhere if you still watch it, because by the end of this video, I want to talk about the drama also with Haney and Gervonta Davis. But anyway, I think that Ortiz looked great, but we couldn't really get, it would have been nice to see a couple rounds because he's been out of the ring. And but he still looked great. The guy's got like 20 wins and 20, straight up. He's got a 100% knockout ratio, huge power. It wasn't that bad because I still believe Lawson was in deep trouble and he wouldn't have survived this fight anyway. So what Weeks ultimately did by stopping it early, and yes, he did stop it early, and yes, it was a bad stoppage. But I'm just the type of person, I don't want to see fighters take unnecessary punishment for a long period of time. That's the type of person I am, unless they're still in a fight. Like Diego Corrales, back in the day, that fight, it was just crazy. There's a fight that wasn't stopped. A couple of fights like that. Castro versus Jackson, going back in boxing history in the 90s. A fighter that stuck around, took a beating, but yet come back and to ultimately win. So, anyway, there's Lawson was really hurt, got on the ropes, and the shots were going over the gloves, weren't really clean on the head. It was like a body shot tap, and the referee pulled the plug fast. Now, obviously, that wouldn't fly. Boxing wouldn't be what it is today if Tony Weeks type stoppages happened every day, all the time, meaning it wouldn't fly and it was an early stoppage, no doubt about it. So I'm conflicted because, like I said, I didn't want to see this man take too much damage, but it's still the wrong stoppage. But he did save him from taking more long-term damage, because don't get it twisted, every fight, every boxer that goes in there and gets hit in the head and then sustains damage is ultimately going to have some type of longevity issues. I don't care, because the human brain isn't meant to take such punishment. So at some point, motor skills, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, in the future, you got to realize that a lot of these fighters, they're literally putting their lives on the line, and they should be taken care of, and fights do go on too long, unfortunately. So in this one, we got an early stoppage. I'm looking at it right now on the ropes here. I can't show it, unfortunately, and it's mostly body shots, and he's pushing down over the head. That is Virgil. It wasn't really, it was fast. It was a fast stoppage, but he did what he was supposed to do, and no one's going to really cry that much after that, because it wasn't like a super fight on pay-per-view. So this fight won't be remembered. I feel like boxing fans, or casuals especially, have short-lived memories, and no one's going to really be talking about this until the next Tony Weeks mistake, because there probably will be another one. Some of these refs need to retire early. I don't know. It's crazy. Some of these refs could go forever. I don't know if you remember Frank Cappuccino. Love the name, Coffee Espresso. Can't forget a name like that. But he was refereeing into his 80s. I don't know. I'm not Googling it right now, but he looked a good 75 and up when he was still refereeing. And he was doing a fine job, unless there's something I don't recall. but ultimately he's not with us anymore, I don't think. And then he retired at some point. So let's just talk about this drama. You could see it on Twitter. Gervonta Davis, I can't even show it because the profanities and everything. So basically, Gervonta Davis says, all these want to be like me. I'm their biggest test, so they don't want to admit, but you can peep. Oh, well, Haney fired back. Hey, sure, all this man does is talk. All this curse word do is talk. I can't make it out what he said there. And then he says, ever want to be, okay, I don't ever, he had a typo art. He's on his phone, Haney. I don't want to ever be blah, blah, blah like you. Well, this is crazy because this fight is going to be brewing. It's going to be looming for a while, I think. It's going to be marinating. Because if you're Davis's people and you're Davis's team, you probably are very leery about, because I think Gervonta Davis, even at this point, is still the bigger name. You don't want to put Davis in there yet with Haney. Because in my opinion, not only is it a risky fight, because he's probably, he could lose. A lot of people will probably say if the fight happened tomorrow, it's a 50-50 fight. In my humble opinion, as good, as powerful, and fast as Gervonta Davis is, he still has some flaws in there. He's open to some shots, right hands, and he's just a little step behind Haney. I think Haney's going to win a great fight if they fight. Probably probably a decision win. I would say if they fought tomorrow, I would bet on that. I'm not going to literally bet on it because I'm not a gambler, but I would say, I would think it's safe to say, in a very close fight, Gervonta Davis would lose a decision because this man could box his behind off like Floyd Mayweather, but on his own style, on his own level. You've seen it with Lomachenko, had issues with him. You've seen it with Regis, and I don't even think that Gervonta Davis' camp or team wants anything to do it while Bill's going around and pushing for this fight. He's a businessman, and he should stand in the bathroom and avoid that whole nonsense. Bill Haney is too smart for this. He's too smart. He's a businessman. He doesn't need to get down to the level of Bernard Hopkins. I can't believe I'm saying this. What is Bernard Hopkins, almost 60 years old at this point? Bill is a businessman. He's out there for his son. Excuse me, I'm getting over it's being seriously ill. It's crazy. Excuse me. Another cough. I don't know if I'm going to edit it out. Just putting it out there. It was when I was seriously ill. I just, like a sinus infection, But I just think that it was just a bad move for Hopkins to be doing and acting like this. Bill he's a grown man. It makes the Golden Boy look very bad based on what I've seen already. And if you want to talk about you guys, Hopkins and De La Hoya, are going to be great ambassadors to boxing. You're going to show how boxers are not like other promoters from yesteryear, like Don King, for an example. And you want to talk about how you're not going to be corrupt. You can't be doing this stuff because it makes you look really unprofessional. It makes you look really bad pushing Bill Haney. And Bill Haney, he's talking about, I'm not going to be bullied. I'm a great name for fathers out there. This man he's a great ambassador to boxing, Bill. I like Bill because, he's out there as a dad. He's a mentor to his son. I love the story. And I also think, like I said, that they got the goods. They're walking the walk, they're talking the talk. But Bill needs to just avoid this drama. He needs to go out there, keep promoting the fight, get the big fights for his son, and walk himself. I get what he's doing, talking himself, and walking and getting attention on himself so they can get more cash in the very end. That's what it's all about, isn't it? It's a boxing business. So with that being said, I'll be back with another one. Had really fun doing this. And, things will happen. Things will happen. 2024 for boxing is looking really good right now. And I do want to see Wilder come back. But like I said, I'd rather see him retire. As much as I want to see him come back, I'd rather see him retire on top and be the great dad that he is to his kids. And he has one child. They documented it. His daughter, special needs. This man is awesome, Deontay Wilder. So I want to see someone like him be there for his daughter. Just knowing that makes me happy. Being a good dad, being out there and taking care of his kids and having the mental, ability to do this for years and years, having all those faculties, not going in there and taking these risks when he don't need to. He doesn't need to prove anything. Yeah, he's already the heavyweight champ. He did his thing, knocking massive people out. Anyway, I'm out.